guys, it's Eshani, aka Total Makeup Junkie 101. Just to let you guys know, I am recovering from a cold that basically kept me off my feet for like 2 weeks. I don't know what this cough, cold, flu thing that's going around is, but let me just tell you, it sucks. So if my voice sounds a little weird, I have that weird, like, almost like air bubble thing in my ear where I feel like I'm just like talking in my own head. But putting that aside, Fenty Beauty just came out with some new complexion products that I have to say got me really excited. Actually, a lot of brands are coming out with foundations and concealers and powders that I'm kind of excited to try out. Hourglass has a new liquid foundation. Milani has a new Conceal and Perfect concealer and a stick foundation. I don't know if you guys want me to do future videos on any of those, but let me just say I'm kind of excited to try them myself. I gotta say, the reason I was so excited about this new Fenty Beauty launch is because the original Fenty Beauty Pro Filt'r Soft Matte Longwear Foundation, you guys know, has been one of my top favorite foundations ever since it launched. So to complement the foundation, Fenty Beauty just launched some new concealers. They are called the Pro Filt'r Instant Retouch Concealers. And they also released a couple of loose setting powders, which they call the Pro Filt'r Instant Retouch Setting Powders. I have been testing these products out over the past week or so I have some thoughts on them for you. I'll also be showing you guys some demos of me applying both of these products just so you can see how they work in application. There's also a major dance party going on outside my window, so if you hear some bumping, thumping music, that's what that is. So just to give you guys a little bit of background on my familiarity with the Fenty Beauty complexion products, like I said, I've loved their Pro Filt'r foundation. I actually loved it so much that when I placed this order, I ended up ordering another shade of the foundation. The original shade that I had picked up is 360, which actually matches me perfectly in the summer, but now that we're pretty much in the dead of winter, I decided to go ahead and pick up the shade 330, which I thought might match me better. On the Sephora website, the original shade that I picked up, 360, is described to be for tan skin with neutral undertones, and then the other shade I picked up, 330, is described to be for tan skin with warm undertones. Here's a look at those two just for color reference for you. This one here is 330, tan skin with warm undertones, and then this one here is 360, which is tan skin with neutral undertones. I gotta say, in their own ways, they both match me. The warm one definitely leans more orangey, but my skin undertone is warm or pretty much orange. But I gotta say, I like them both. I don't think I would go much lighter than this. I'm actually wearing 330 on my face right now, so you guys can get a look at how it looks. And then quickly, for those of you who aren't familiar with the original Fenty Beauty foundation, it is a pretty much matte foundation, pretty thin, very lightweight, medium to full coverage, definitely buildable. It lasts so well on the skin. It almost gives your skin this beautiful airbrushed finish. It works amazingly over a lot of different primers. I really haven't had an issue with this formula pilling up or getting blotchy or patchy. It doesn't break up on my oily skin throughout the day, which is really nice, but if I have any dry patches on my skin, it also doesn't tend to cling to those. But I also do not have super dry skin. I've heard if you have really dry skin, this might not work for you. I apply this foundation with the Beauty Blender, which is my favorite way to apply most foundations, and this foundation works wonderfully with it. Jumping right into discussing the concealer, the Pro Filt'r Instant Retouch Concealer. This is what the packaging of it looks like. Super cute. Basically a mini version of the foundation. The top does twist off, so it doesn't come with a pump like the foundation does, and then you do have a flat felt tip applicator. I want to discuss pricing really quick because this is a pricey concealer. For reference, the Pro Filt'r foundation retails for $34, which I think is a very reasonable price for a high-end or a foundation that you can find at Sephora. This concealer retails for $26, which in comparison to a $34 foundation, I would have expected the concealer to be closer to maybe the $20 price tag. I mean, you are getting 0.2 0.27 fluid ounces of product, which is a reasonable amount of product for a concealer. But regardless, $26 seems a little high to me. I ended up picking up 2 shades of the concealer. I actually got the same 2 shades that I have in the foundation, 330 and 360. I was very curious to see how the colors compared, and here's a little look for you guys. So this is the 330 concealer on top and the 330 foundation on the bottom, and then over here we have the 360 concealer on top and the 360 foundation on the bottom. You guys can see that the 330s are quite a bit different, one next to the other. The foundation is significantly more orange. The concealer, in my opinion, is just a really nice tone. I do really love this tone of concealer. Whereas the 360 pair, I feel like they look really similar. Like they're almost the same shade. The concealer might be just a tinge lighter. I think that is interesting that between the 2 pairs of shades, like the variance between the shade of concealer and foundation, it's different. Like it's not the same. That's maybe something to keep note of. Also, maybe a reason why you would want to go into store to color match yourself to a concealer, because even if you get the same shade as the foundation you use, it may or may not actually match up to what you're looking for. So according to Fenty Beauty, this says a creamy Longwear Crease Proof liquid concealer with light as air, medium to full coverage that brightens under eyes and conceals blemishes and redness. This formula is supposed to be sweat proof, and it does come in 50 different shades, which is kind of insane. I gotta say, the shade range with this concealer is very impressive. There is basically every shade and every shade undertone available in this line. Fenty Beauty really does kind of do the groundbreaking work in terms of inclusivity, which I do love. However, that does make it a little tricky to color match yourself online, just because there are so many options, so many undertones, so many slight variances. It can pose a little bit of a problem. Like, it's a first world problem, the most first world problem ever, but you know, it's there. In terms of the formula of this concealer, it is definitely thicker than the foundation, as to be expected. It goes on medium to full coverage. I mean, I had no issues blending it out with my beauty blender. It blended beautifully into my skin. I would say, unlike the foundation, the concealer isn't a matte finish. It actually dries down to be more of a satin type finish, and it doesn't dry down completely powdery. So if you don't want it to remain kind of tacky on your skin or in your under eye area, you will definitely need to set it with a powder. One claim that this concealer makes is that it's crease proof, and I have to say that that has not been my experience with this. Even when I first apply it and blend it out, if I just let it sit on the skin for a minute or two, it will start kind of collecting in the little creases I have under my eyes, and it will start creasing. I don't know if that has something to do with my skin type. Again, especially around my eye area, I do have fairly oily skin, but since this concealer just claimed to be crease proof, I just wanted to let you know that it really isn't. You will need to set it. I guess unless you have really, really dry under eyes, then it might be fine for you. This concealer wears really beautifully. I haven't noticed a lot of creasing under my eyes throughout the day if I set it. Now, I have always set this concealer every time I've used it. I tend to set my concealer generally. Like I said, I didn't set it, and even just a minute or two after application, it already started creasing. So throughout the day, it would definitely crease on me. In terms of my overall thoughts on this concealer, I think it's good, but I don't think it's amazing. Perhaps I went into this expecting something super revolutionary because I have been such a fan of the foundation, and I really do feel like the foundation formula is revolutionary and something very unique in my collection. But this concealer, I mean, we have Tarte Shape Tape, we have the Too Faced Born This Way concealer, we have the NARS Radiant Creamy concealer. I mean, there are just so many other concealers that are amazing. Full coverage, crease proof, you can set it, you don't have to. The color range might not be as extensive as this one, but formula wise, in my opinion, they just work a little better. I absolutely do not think this is a bad product by any means, but I don't think it's a must-have. Okay, now let's jump right into discussing the loose powder. This is again called the Pro Filt'r Instant Retouch Setting Powder. I picked up 2 shades. She has 8 different shades available, and each shade is kind of broken down. If you guys are familiar with the Fenty Beauty foundation range, she has different groupings according to skin tone. So if you're in the 100 range, that would be considered light. 200 is considered medium, 300 is considered tan, and 400 is considered dark. I'm in the 300 range, hence why I have 330 and 360 in the foundation. So I decided to pick up the 2 shades that were meant to be for the 300 range. You have Honey, which is supposed to be the brightening shade for the 300 range, and then you have Hazelnut, which is just the all-over setting powder. The formula on both of these is the same. It's just the tones and the actual shades are a little different. Each of these powders retails for $32, and you do get almost a whole ounce of product. You get 0.98 ounces or 28 grams of product, which is a lot of setting powder. So I gotta say, price for the amount you're getting is very, very good. Right in line with what I would have expected for the Fenty Beauty range. Taking a look at the packaging, it comes in this really cute kind of funky shaped packaging. Now, this is a loose powder. So when you open it up, I mean, do beware, it's loose. There is a little sifter that does say FB. You can't see it because there's just a ton of powder. But each powder also comes with this little top here where you can actually place it over the sifter and it'll kind of stop the powder from coming out. I don't know if that made sense, but it's cool that it comes with that. According to Fenty Beauty, this is a super fine, weightless, loose setting powder in 8 sheer shades to perfect and extend makeup wear for a filtered, photo-ready finish on lock. It's supposed to blur the look of pores, fine lines, and imperfection for a hyper smooth filter that won't flash back. The shades are supposed to melt into your unique skin tone, letting you set, perfect, and brighten without caking or settling. Okay, so the first thing I want to talk about regarding this powder is the colors. So when I got these 2 shades in the mail, like I said, these are the shades that were recommended for the 300 tan skin family. In the container, they both looked a little dark, especially Hazelnut. Honey is the one that's supposed to be brightening, so naturally it was a little bit lighter than Hazelnut, but when I just looked at Hazelnut like in the packaging, I was like, oh no, that is way too dark. It's interesting because when you actually swatch them, I don't know how well this is gonna actually translate on camera, but I have a little swatch here of Honey, and then Hazelnut is swatched over here next to it. So Honey does look a little bit lighter and brighter. It's got a little bit of like a yellowy undertone, which definitely adds a brightening effect on the skin. And then Hazelnut pretty much perfectly blends into my skin. I didn't expect that because I definitely thought Hazelnut was going to be way too dark until I put it on. The way I ended up using these powders, as you saw in the demo, is that I used Honey under my eyes and kind of in the center part of my face, and then I went in with Hazelnut on the outer part. The powders are super finely milled. I mean, these are just like silky, buttery. When they blend onto your skin, they really do just melt in. They don't settle into your fine lines. If anything, they actually blur the look of pores a little bit. I have pretty visible enlarged pores, particularly right here around my nose area, and I felt like when I went over it with this powder, it just almost evened everything out. And I personally don't have a loose setting powder that I love that has color to it. You guys know I'm in love with my Laura Mercier translucent loose setting powder, but that is translucent. It has no color. It just sets the skin, perfects the skin, mattifies the skin, but doesn't really add any color. And I am really excited to use and play with these powders in combination, not just with medium or full coverage foundations, but also using it with like tinted moisturizers or over liquid highlighters, or just something that's maybe not so full coverage, so you can still get a really beautiful, perfected look. The powder will add a little bit of coverage, but not too much. I think that'll just be a really pretty, like everyday, no makeup, glowy beach goddess type look. Texture, color, the way they go on. It's a loose powder, so it's messy, but you go into it expecting it to be messy. But other than that, I mean, I think the price is reasonable, especially for the amount of product you get. It's a beautiful product. I can't rave about those anymore. They're really, really nice. Alrighty guys, so there we have it. Those are the 2 new Fenty Beauty complexion products that I was honestly super, super excited to try out. One is an absolute hit and is basically everything I expected Fenty Beauty to come out with. Something amazing, revolutionary, that will be in my daily makeup rotation. And then the other thing, the concealer, which I think is totally fine, totally acceptable. There's nothing wrong with it. But as far as formula is concerned, I just think there are better options on the market personally for me. So that is everything. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. If you guys have tried out these new Fenty Beauty complexion products, please let me know what you think of them in the comments down below. My ear is doing that bubble tunnel thing and I just, oh my god, it's so annoying. Anyways, thank you guys so much for your love and support on my channel and on my videos. I honestly really appreciate it from the bottom of my heart, and I will talk to you guys in my next video on Thursday. I'll see you then. Bye.